This is Black Views, bringing you the Black News. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today, our story is about Kanye West, also known as Ye. He's an American rapper, songwriter, record producer, and fashion designer. And we all know Kanye, okay? So recently, Kanye has made some statements that's kind of got him in hot water. He said some statements about the Jays, and he said some things that they don't sound right. I mean, but I just look at the after effects, like the banks, the partnerships, everyone has totally shut down Kanye West. They have all canceled Kanye West, and I think this reminds me of like a master in front of his slaves. He's going to strike hard and fast. He's going to let them all know this is what you're going to get if you fuck with me. If you don't do what I tell you, if you don't follow the lines the way they're supposed to be, if you try to figure something out and you want to speak on a national level, this is what's going to happen. You can't speak about the Jays. People can speak about blacks. There's nothing wrong with that, because maybe black is a byword, and they're willing to accept that that's a byword without telling you the truth. So the point that I'm trying to make is that here you have Kanye West, who used to be a black American favorite until he started talking crazy. Once he started talking about slavery was a choice, he started saying, different things. I personally don't know if these were all gimmicks to get attention. I really just can't understand. But at the same time, there are people, and he has been diagnosed with having some mental issues. Okay, so it's just so think about how when you see mental people, they say things and do things that you like. And what do we say? We always say, all right, they got a problem. They have allowed this man to speak and say whatever he wants to say. Why isn't these organizations saying, hey, Mr. Kanye has a mental problem, and we're going to disregard the things that he's doing, and we're going to move on? No, they punish him. The banks. Let's see here. I have a list of all the different entities that have separated themselves. Balenciaga, CAA, Cohen Clear, Lands, Griffith, Thorpe, and Amp, Roch and Stride. I can't even go there. And then Gap, JP Morgan, Chase, MRC, and various social media such as Twitter and I believe Instagram. They've all turned their backs. They all pretty much, JP Morgan is a financial institution. Okay, so eventually what they're trying to do is, I guess, if he had I don't know how much he had in the bank, but if he had that much in the bank, let's say $1 billion or $500 million or whatever, they're trying to push that out, push that. I mean, like, so what, he's gonna have all his money in his house. This reminds me of what was done to Russia in response to the invasion of Ukraine. This is a one person entity, man. A one person is being shut down. All the things he created. Pretty soon they're going to be saying, oh, we can't play none of his music. His catalog is no longer going to be able to be played on, various music sites and so forth. Which once again, like, I mean, look what they're doing to black artists. But then this is something that Kanye said out of his mouth, and even though it wasn't right what he said, I mean, I in a way, I mean, he asked for it, and this is what he got. I know he knew better, but the same way, I just look at the actions that have been done by by the organizations, and I just think it's wrong, man. I think it's wrong, how they got involved, because people call black people niggas every day, and they don't get their bank account shut down. They don't get their YouTube account, shut down. They don't. I mean, people can say what they want to say. You know, he said something to the effect of the Jewish. I think the Jewish owners of like rap music distributors and so forth. Something about they were guilty of whatever. Okay, that's cool. I understand. All right, they didn't like that, but at the same time, look at the music that's being put out. The music that's being put out. That's young black youth. They're telling you to kill them. They're telling you to, they're turning women into whores. All these different things, and it's like, where does this come from? It all comes from the source of money, right? Women, men are getting paid to say the most degenerate things. They're getting paid. They're on the payroll to be stupid and say dumb things. Somebody's paying them, you know. And so he said something about the Jewish rap music owners. And I mean, how far from the truth really? I mean, is it? I don't want to just blame a people for something, and say, but how far off is he from the truth with some of this stuff that he's saying? This is what bothers me. Like, I don't have I understand, you want to cancel him, but what about all the other groups and other entities and other people? How come they're not getting canceled? Remember that big little parade they had down there when they marched around and said it would not be replaced and all this? How come those people weren't ostracized? How come we didn't find out who the leader of that group was and they shut down his bank account and everybody else's bank account and basically, just destroyed them, dismembered them like they're doing Kanye? And once again, like I said, Kanye did this shit to himself, man. It's almost like, he didn't move as a group. He tried to move on his own. You see what I'm saying? He didn't build up a base of black people and then go out there, because ain't nobody saying shit. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Quiet. Everybody, and then look, when I listen to other white bloggers and things like that, and they're all talking about the bad things Kanye say, but they don't look at it comparative as to how other people say bad things. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Depending on how you want to look at this, man, this looks mean. You don't want to say those words because you don't want to get a strike for some kind of violation of saying something inappropriate about a group or about people. But damn, you can't even speak the truth. So like, if there are entities that are in charge, they're in charge, right? They own these vocal points that rappers use, right? They distribute records, right? But it's okay to distribute rap demeaning black people, demeaning other black people, and talking about things they want to do to black people, period. But you won't see anything to that. Isn't that weird? That tells us that we are on our own. Pretty much, you're on your own. You're going to get attacked by everybody. You're going to be used by every single immigrant as, a consumer. Anybody can come from anywhere and come here, start a business in the black community and get consumers. Start off with consumers, and then they can move up within the ladder of business. That's kind of like how it is. So if you come to America and you work hard, all of a sudden you have all these shops and shit set up. None by the Aborigines, the Aboriginal people, just by everybody else that eats off the Aboriginal people. And you have a gag over your mouth. You're not allowed to say anything because we have to all be righteous. So let's look what we have here. We have, like, what's his name? Donaldson from the Los Angeles Rams. I'm sorry, Aaron Donald from the Los Angeles Rams. He separate ties. Jaylen Brown, he has separated ties from Donda Sports. Okay, that's I believe that's a sports entity that Kanye West owns. So essentially all black people are going to separate themselves from his products because they don't want to get backlash from the Jays. They don't want backlash from the Jays. They don't want to be associated, you know, with those ties. But it doesn't work this way with other people. It really doesn't. People say to separate themselves and still do business. You know, I just look at it for what it is. I mean, it's not very complex. You can actually see that it's unfair. It's unfair in a way because I mean, how are you a bank trying to shut down where his money is? So then what he's supposed to do? Come get his money in all ones, hundreds and $1,000 bills, and put them in the basement of his house and get like what is that? But yet these institutions operate off the masses. So at the end of the day, when you get out of line, they drop you out of the system so you can prosper. Because see, you can only prosper through the system that's built. Yeah. You want to be a athlete? Well, you gotta pay for it. You gotta play for a team that plays. That's why we don't think about it. That's why we don't have a lot of black owners. Okay. Same thing with record labels. Not a lot of black owners. And then when we do have record labels, they don't have enough money to mass distribute and do the things they need to do to really put a musician or entertainer into the limelight. This is sad. That's what I think. I just think it's sad. I mean, Kanye, we've ignored him for a while. We knew he had a mental disorder and he would just say things off the fly. But now he says things that are considered anti-Semitic. See, when it's considered anti-black or considered anti-Negro, it's diminished. But if you say something about the Jews, the Jays, or I mean, even if you say something about Hispanics, they ain't even acting like that. But if you say something about the Jays, that'll tell you something, right? Like they are connected in everything and pretty much own a lot of things that affect everyone. So they can all at the end of the day come together and just say, well you can't use our services anymore. Isn't that something? And I wonder how that works with like let's say a black bank. Like for instance, right now, I mean, I guess Kanye will do better just putting his money into a black bank. But I'm not a financial person, so I don't know how far that goes because those banks still operate and are connected to the big banks. They need backing. The rules and regulations are created by the same people that are putting Kanye underneath. Amazing. I don't know. Once again, I'm not saying what was good about what he said, but it's the response that's happening. Racists every day are able to say things about black people. Every day they're able to say things, whether it's with clothing, whether it's symbolic, especially with clothing. I mean, do you remember how many times that we've heard that these clothes weren't made for black people and they weren't meant to. I mean, imagine if you said that about the Jays, man. This is what I'm talking about. It's unfair. If this was across the line with every single person that has something negative to say about black people, you have Jewish imams calling black people monkeys. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like there was no backlash from that. There's no backlash from this. But if here you go, a young Negro says something about the Jays, and because he has money, they're gonna shut him down. So this should be a lesson for you to see, especially for young people. When you're not sure who your friends are, who your friends and who your foes are, look at this situation, and you tell me what you think. I like for you to comment. I like for you to like the material as well as subscribe. I also want to say thank you, and I appreciate the followers that I have. And thank you so much. Have a good day. This is Black Views, bringing you the Black news.